which hopefully will this. Hello everyone, it's Yuki here and welcome back to another episode from my Let's Play Survival World. Yes, you've seen that right, I'm finally building a bridge. I started building this over on a live stream, so if you want to see that, just head over to my channel and watch the VOD over there. I started doing a full stone design, but I actually changed my mind and decided that rather than just going with stone, I can probably use the terracotta from the villagers to make it look much better. And I decided that I wanted to make it a suspension bridge. So I'm definitely going to need a lot of blocks for this because I want to make some really tall pillars, and then from the pillars are going to be the chains that are holding this bridge together. So I think I'm gonna have to use the whole mason village to get all these blocks, specifically the terracotta blocks. Maybe I'm gonna be using some of the other blocks that they're actually trading, but I'm gonna have to see how well I can incorporate them into the build. Unfortunately, to be able to trade for all those blocks, I will need a lot of emeralds, which I currently don't have, because all my farms are not actually producing enough to get all the emeralds that I need. I thought originally that they're gonna be enough. They are kinda enough to get me a good supply of golden carrots. Unfortunately, to trade all the blocks that I would need for this project is not gonna be enough, so I'm gonna have to build a raid farm. And considering the amount of emeralds I'm gonna need to build this, and considering I'm gonna be building a lot more villages, which are also going to require emeralds for trading, I think I decided to actually build a raid farm that's really good rather than trying to design one my own, because I don't know enough about the raid mechanics, and I think going into one that's really good where I don't have to AFK for too long, or maybe not AFK at all, I think it's gonna be the best solution and the best idea for this time being. Unfortunately, there's no really other easier way to get emeralds, and the raid farm is probably one of the fastest ways, because I definitely don't want to be trading with the villagers like 24/7 to gather all the emeralds that I need. So the first thing to actually start the raid farm, I'm gonna have to prepare an area where an outpost is to actually get all the bottles that we need for this. That's gonna be rather easy, and I'll be able to do that myself because that one is rather easy. I've done it before. It doesn't have to be anything special. The raid captains are gonna be spawning. I'm gonna kill them and that's it. Like, there's nothing too special about that. So in order to do that, I'm gonna have to gather some resources first. And since I have all these chiseled stone bricks, why not take them with us? We might even take these bricks because why not? I can definitely make some walls and stuff out of them, add some color onto the build. I checked the map where the closest outpost is, and it's actually pretty far away and it's really close to spawn. So I think that's another good reason to soon start working on the spawn and on the transport network that I'm going to be building in the Nether, because I definitely want to build some tunnels over there and not have to travel by elytra absolutely everywhere. The outpost is about 2000 blocks away, so I kind of want to make sure that I gather everything that I need for the project and not have to fly back and forth. So I'm going to be doing a bit of resource gathering, organizing some things, and then we'll be on our way. And considering I'm actually recording this just before a stream, I might actually do this on stream. And just as I said, one stream later, we got a lot of torch spam, an iron golem in the middle, an outpost that's been kind of chopped off, and I'm actually running out of food. I completely forgot to bring extra food, even though these guys don't really do that much damage. Getting hit by their arrows constantly definitely used up all my golden carrots, so I'll have to fly back to base and actually get this sorted. Then I can probably continue with finishing up the farm. I'm gonna spare you the details and I'm gonna jump right at the end of this being finished and I'm gonna show you how it works. And as promised, the farm is fully done. As you can see, all of them are pretty much dying in the killing chambers like they're supposed to. There's some of them actually that kind of hang around there, but they do despawn at one point. So I'm kind of thinking to add a few more torches around. That's kind of one of the fixes that I came up with, because there were a lot more being stopped like that one. So I added a couple of torches around so they won't spawn on the edge, because I didn't want to add slabs, but it was so much time consuming. I decided the torches are easier to do. And then let's sleep and I'll show you a few more tweaks that I made to the farm. Just kind of a disclaimer, the farm is actually a design by Yuki Crafts. I just kind of modified it to fit my needs. So if you guys want like a full tutorial on that, you can just head over to his video and check it out, or you can just hang around and you're gonna see my explanation of what I did. So to walk you through how this thing works, I pretty much made a perimeter that encloses the outpost spawn area. I spawn proof anything in a square of the radius that they spawn in. I used mini HUD and then I checked the wiki just to make sure that I got the spawn area right. Then over here, this is more or less the same design as Yuki Crafts. There's a hole with some campfires. I do need to get some soul campfires because they will die faster like that. Then there's a golem over here that basically attracts them. And actually one of the tweaks that I've done, because some of them weren't actually running towards the golem, I added 4 golems up top there. So with those 4 golems, they actually start tracking those golems at the top first. They run towards this area, they lose line of sight, they track this one, and they fall straight into the hole. So it's kind of working as it's intended. So I feel like that's a pretty easy fix to do, because I feel like if you get to the point of making this farm, you probably have enough iron to make some extra iron golems, right? And then let's go down here and see how many bottles we actually got. Oh, that's a lot actually. Do I want to get them all out? Let's get them all out and see exactly how many we got. It's pretty loud with these guys dying, not gonna lie. So this was about 10 minutes or so of AFKing. So let's see. Let's sort them out in the order that they should be. So it's pretty much a more or less equal amount of the bottles dropping, which is actually really nice to see. And obviously we get some extra banners and all that, but those are going to be useless. I do want to make some kind of system where I'll be able to just gather everything in one spot, so I don't have to like go and grab all of them from like random chests and all that, because if I'm going to be staying here for a while, it's going to be not necessarily a pain, but it's going to take so much longer to do it. So I'd rather just automate it a bit more, make a central collection system, and then everything is going to be much easier than it is right now. And also in the tutorial, it said that you should kind of flatten a bigger area. Honestly, I felt like that was too much work to do currently. I just wanted to have it functional. I'll probably modify it a bit more later on. I'm gonna make this circle a bit nicer, maybe make it a bit smaller so nothing gets stuck around it, flatten this area. I do have kind of an idea of a building that I want to build around this to make it a bit more interesting and not just a plain flat tower. So what I did instead, I just slabbed this square where they're supposed to be spawning. I kind of slabbed some of the tall areas so I don't have to take down the mountain. And then everything else I kind of just torched around, and everything is within the distance where they're gonna despawn if anything spawns around here. And then the pillagers can only spawn inside this circle. So yeah, that's pretty much the farm complete. We got a decent amount of bottles, so I can probably go and find a location where I want to build this raid farm. So hopefully it's not going to take me that long to actually get this done, because raid farms tend to be pretty complicated if you want them to be really, really powerful. Also, for anyone wondering why you can see so far out into the distance, I'm actually using a mod called Distant Horizons. You will notice that the area, it's not 100% rendered in. That's the magic of this mod. It kind of assumes what kind of blocks they are, because I've already loaded those areas, right? So it kind of knows that that's ice and with snow on top. So it makes it look a bit much nicer than just the regular terrain that kind of stops around there. If we have a look from all the way up here, you can kind of see that that's where my base is. It's really weird how it's rendered in, but you can see that that's a tower and it kind of looks like my mob farm, which is really cool to see. And then there's a lot of terrain that I haven't explored there, so you can see it's kind of grayed out. But it basically knows how the world more or less looks like, and it adds a few more details onto it, which makes it look much nicer, especially once we start building this whole area much more. It's gonna look really nice with the blocks that I actually placed and not just with the world generation. And also makes it easier to go back to where I need to go. And also, I think spawn should be somewhere around there, if I'm not mistaken. I don't really know exactly where it is, but it's somewhere around this general direction where the forest is. because I think when I actually found the base, I think I kind of went from here and I went across this ocean all the way there. So it's actually nice to see it now, like 2 years later, where I kind of started from, or where I ended up in. Even though it is a bit embarrassing that I still don't have a connection between spawn and the base. So I'm definitely gonna have to work on that one fairly soon. But let's fly away now and actually find a spot for this raid farm. And this raid farm is actually gonna be a design that I discovered myself. I kind of tried to find a decent design out there, but all of them were like so much more complicated than I can afford to do right now with the resources that I have. So I think I'm gonna be making my own raid farm. I kind of played with a few designs over in creative, and this one seems to be working fine. I haven't died yet. It's producing fairly decent rates from what I tested so far. It's definitely not the best, but it could be worse. There is an ocean monument somewhere around there. So I'm kind of considering to stay rather in range, just so whenever I make that and it's going to be an AFK version of it, I can actually get some drops from that while I'm operating the raid farm, even though I might design another raid farm once I gather enough resources. So I did download a copy of the world just to kind of see what's the best spot to place this in. And right about here seems to be the proper spot. I know it was near some ruins, which are right behind me there where you see that magma block. That seems to be fairly in the middle of this whole land that you can see around me. So there's no issues of the raid spawning outside of this area. I do have to run back to base to gather a few resources. I need a good bit of glass. I need some mud, some fences, and a few other things. It's a really minimal resource farm that I kind of came up with. So maybe I'll make a tutorial for it. Who knows? Maybe it's gonna help someone else out there that really wants a simple and easy farm with low resources. But yeah, let me go back to base and I will be right back. So the first thing that I'm gonna need is a lot of glass. I don't think 2 stacks is gonna be enough, so I'm gonna wait for him to restock at least once to make sure that I have plenty of glass, because there's a need of a lot of unspawnable blocks, so glass is a really good one to have. Next, I'm gonna need some mud, and the easiest way I found is to just go underwater and just spam the bottle on the dirt that's on the bottom of the water and then just mine this. Seems to be working pretty well. I don't need a lot of mud, so this should be plenty. I'll explain you later what the mud is for. Next is going to be some hoppers and some chests. I don't know how many I need. I can probably make a few more. I do have the resources for that. I need a bucket of lava. That's what's going to be killing the ravagers. I do have a bucket of water on me. Some signs that are gonna hold the water and the lava. And a good few fences that are gonna stop the mobs from spilling over from the spawning platform. I almost forgot that I also need a bed and some kind of work table for the villagers. And the last thing we need is actually really close to the farm spot, and it's some of that. And by that I obviously mean ice. And don't be like me and try to use packed ice or blue ice, because in my first design I used normal ice and it melted from the lava. So I'm gonna start with placing some glass just to make myself a platform where I can be safe. I think I'm gonna make it like a 4x4 or something like that. I don't think for the moment I need much more than that. I'm going to get rid of this grass pillar that I made earlier. I'm gonna use the bed that the villagers gonna use just to sleep and get rid of all the mobs. And speaking of villagers, I will need a lead, and I will also need a boat to transport them over here. And I'm actually really lucky because the starter area is about there and we can see a really tiny small house over the villages. So it shouldn't be that complicated to get a villager over here. The problem is I don't know if there's any villagers around. I heard a door, so there's definitely some. I do hope it's not gonna be a green coat. Oh, it's these guys that I actually blocked in there, so past me was actually smart. Oh, I remember this area. It's basically the area where I found my first piece of armor. So let's see, what do we have in here? There is one guy in here, and how many do we have in the other house? I just saw one of them on one of the houses. Don't remember where I saw him though. Where did he go? Ah, there he is on top of the house. Let's try to grab him from over there, and then it should make it really easy actually to transport him. Will I be able to place the boat though? It doesn't look like it, so I will have to kind of assist him and place 2 blocks over here. He's gonna get straight in the boat. So you lead the boat, and I found out that you need to fly straight up for this to work. I almost died by doing that, and clearly that is not the way to do it. So let's try again. Let's eat to regen first. So I guess I'm gonna have to try the pillar way. So I'm gonna go over, grab all the scaffolding, because that's gonna be the easiest way, and then I'm just gonna glide off over where I need to go. All right, scaffolding is in place. Lead on the boat has been set. Let's go up and see if this actually works. I did learn that I need to put a couple of scaffolding like this just to kind of get him off that area, because if I'm gonna try to fly with him like this, I think he's gonna get stuck in there. So there we go. We can see the platform that we need to land on. So let's see if I can stick this landing. Go into F5, make sure that the lead is still with us. Yes, that is a very good thing. So now I just need to hope that I'll be able to drop this villager where he needs to go. So we're gonna do a few maneuvers over here, left, right, as you do, to kind of slow down our descent. And then I think I'm just gonna do that. And he actually got the job straight away, which is actually a really good thing if you think about it, because what I'll be able to do now, if I do F3G, or rather F3B, I'll be able to break the boat and he should run straight to his workstation, or I would have assumed he would. Okay. Well, I guess he will go to bed because nighttime is really close. I don't know why he didn't just want to go in there, but whatever. He's gonna have to go now that nighttime is coming. So let's get the glass ready basically for when he actually jumps into there. Here we go. And then we're gonna cover him up, and this is going to be his area, and that's where he's gonna be triggering a raid from. For storage, it's not gonna be anything too interesting. There's no sorting system or anything. It's just one of these like trickling down 4 chests with hoppers underneath, so everything is just gonna go through at the speed of the hoppers. There's not that many items, so this should be fine. Whenever I'm gonna be building the proper raid farm with the stacking thing and all that, then I'm gonna design a proper storage system, but for the time being, for this one, everything is going to be fine. I'm going to be using these chiseled stone blocks because I have plenty by trading with the villagers, and I basically need to go up 26 blocks. So the upstairs area is completely done. All of them are going to be spawning over on this mud. And it needs to be mud for whatever reason. Maybe because this is not a full block like all the other ones. Because if I use the normal block, they would just get stuck on this platform. But with the mud, they immediately run to this hole and just fall down. So these platforms are basically a 6x4 covered by fences, some glass over here. I forgot one block here. There's a lava that's basically going to kill all the ravagers with a glass block on top, so they actually get stuck in there. And then the water stream that basically pushes them there. And I added these 2 trapdoors just so they think they can actually walk that way. And it kind of slightly helps with all the mobs going down. And the farm is pretty much done. I just added myself a small staircase over here. I added the slab on top of the hopper so items don't get stuck inside. And all that's left now is to actually drink a bottle and see if the farm properly works. One thing, don't forget to remove all the temporary blocks that you added so there's no spawnable blocks around here. If you do want any kind of decoration, make sure that you put slabs on top of anything like that to stop the mobs from spawning. And with that, let's grab one of these shulker boxes that I have over here. I think I'm gonna be going straight with Bad Omen 5. Why not? What better way to test it? Let's drink this. The omen will start. I will put my sword over here and I will go into camera mode just to make sure that everything spawns properly. I can still control the sword from over here. The raid bar just started, so we should be seeing some mobs spawning fairly soon once the raid bar gets to the end. And all of them should be spawning on this platform and they should immediately jump into the hole. And that did not happen. So I really wonder now if it has anything to do with orientation. It might be something like that. I don't know because I have not tested that. So I will have to double check this and see exactly what's happening. So it looks like I managed to fix the farm. I don't necessarily know if it was my fix or just something random with the game. but if you're just gonna wait now, see, all of them are gonna be running over, and then they're all gonna fall straight down into the hole and into the killing area. I did make some modifications over here, and I added this mud block because they kept jumping on the slab. So I need to modify this kind of platform where I'm killing them from. Some of them are jumping, however, so they are gonna be dying. I am considering to maybe raise it even a bit higher. But other than that, it seems to be working properly now. And what I did is basically I just raised the villager. He's not over there anymore, he's up here, so I think they just had to be a bit closer to him. I'm gonna be dropping everything in this chest that I'm currently getting. And I think I'm just gonna fill my inventory with something just so I don't get any of the drops. But yeah, as you might have noticed, some of them are actually dying once they hit the ground. Oh, hero of the village, very nice. So yeah, some of them were dying before they hit the ground, which is a bit unfortunate, to be honest. So let's see, if I take all these emeralds, so I got 46. In my testing world, I actually managed to get a stack and a half. So I do believe that this is due to the drop distance. So maybe if I raise that by 1 block, I can just add an extra hopper over here. Maybe that should stop them from dying, and then that should give me more drops. And I also completely forgot that I'm going to be getting totems out of this. And it's nice to see that I'm getting a bit of redstone as well. So by just building a really easy farm like this one, I'll be able to get a few more items that I need to build even bigger farms after this. So I'm gonna have to test, see how many items I can actually get from a few raids, see if the emeralds are actually worth it, or if I just want to make this real quick, get a couple of redstone stacks and stuff to be able to build a really powerful farm that I found online. And testing and modifying is exactly what I did. I think I did about 12 or 13 raids, and basically there's a lot of totems, 100%, like you can see here. I'm pretty packed with them. I can probably just take one, put it in my offhand, and then for the rest of the items I just added them all over here. So a stack and a quarter of emeralds and redstone, a good bit of gunpowder, some glowstone dust, some sticks, sugar, and spider eyes. So the farm, it's not too bad, I suppose, but it's definitely not at the scale that I was expecting it to be. So I feel like once we actually get a good few resources and I finish building that bridge, I'm definitely gonna have to make a more powerful raid farm. To show you the changes that I kind of did, because I've been changing it a lot to make sure that it works properly, I basically turned this trapdoor around so it's on this side, so they just think they can just walk off. I destroyed these 2 blocks over here, and then I added a trapdoor over there. So basically they think that this is a way they can walk out of, and then they think they can walk off this trapdoor and they just fall down. And as you can see there, without the water, the farm actually works much better. I don't necessarily know what the reason is, but it basically makes absolutely every mob just rush into the hole, while with the water there, they were kind of opposing the current. So see, they spawn, they immediately run into the hole there. And if we wait a bit for the next bigger raid, like whenever there's a Ravager in here, they do tend to kind of hang around because the Ravager is so big and it can't fit in there and it blocks the other mobs. But other than that, they still immediately rush into there. So see, they all rushed through. In this case, we actually got lucky and the Ravager got stuck behind. But in the end, he will get stuck into the lava. He kind of tries to run around, but it will die in the end and all the saddles are just gonna despawn over here. So yeah, if you want to have a look, this is pretty much what it looks like. I added 2 buttons here. This is pretty much stopping them from spawning on this edge, because I had some Ravagers actually popping over the fence for some reason. By having these 2 buttons over here, it kind of stops them and they spawn around this area instead, which actually makes it work a bit better. So let's see if we can get another one with the Ravager, maybe even 2 of them. No, there was no Ravager this time around, but you'll see that straight away every single one of them is running straight into the hole. Some of them kind of try to turn around, but in the end they just decide. So it takes probably less than 2 seconds for all of them to fall down into the hole if there's no Ravager. Here we go, one more Ravager one, and I think this is the one where they're gonna slightly get stuck in here. I kind of killed them all the way down there at the bottom. I'm swinging my sword, but as you can see, the Ravager catches fire, and then second he gets out of the way, all of them just fall down. So yeah, it's a pretty simple farm. It works well. It's definitely not the fastest because you kind of have to wait around. It does take a lot of time for the raids to start basically, because you have to drink the bottle, wait, it triggers the raid, the mob spawn and so on. But honestly, if you really look for something quick, fast to get emeralds and a couple of extra resources, I think this is the farm to build. And even though the plan was to finish this bridge this episode, I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately, because I'm kind of running out of time for this episode and I really want to get it out for you guys. And in order to finish the bridge, there's still a good bit to do, such as trading with the villagers, placing the blocks, actually making sure that it looks decent. I don't want to just throw it together and that's it. I want to kind of work it out a bit more on how the bridge would look like, because I want to make it like a really nice suspension bridge. And also to align with my goal to actually post more frequently, posting this episode early would give me a bit more time to work on the next episode, which I can start pretty much right away. And like that, you guys are gonna see more episodes coming out from me. Rather than having to wait weeks for this one to come out, you're gonna see it now, and then you're only gonna have to wait a bit until the next one comes out, which hopefully will be this whole bridge complete, which hopefully will be the bridge complete and the path fully finished all the way up to the end portal. So yeah, as always, thank you for tuning in. I do appreciate all your support. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and share your thoughts below. And if you're new here, consider subscribing. Until next time, happy crafting!